Trying to get this. There we go. All right. So here we are, Sunday night. How's everybody doing? Everybody make it to Sunday night, alcohol free? I pray that's the case. I pray, I hope. And yeah, so let's get right into it. One of my subscribers, Robert, asked if I could do a video on loneliness because that is really the reason why he drinks. So I wanted to touch base with that. I actually, hey, there he is. How's it going, Jason? Oh yeah, yep. Cowboys, Lions, yep. Big winners today. So yeah, this one will have a different tone this than last week. I'm here a little earlier. It's not going to get dark on us here, at least unless we go for 2 hours. But I don't think that's going to happen tonight. Um, so how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? So I wanted to touch base about the loneliness issue because it's a thing. It's a real thing that we drink because of. It's one of the things that makes quitting alcohol difficult because it keeps us in the cycle. If we're struggling with loneliness, and I have a first-hand experience with that, um, and it's in my past. It's not current. It doesn't happen currently. That doesn't mean that it would never happen again. That's the thing about sobriety is it's awesome. Being alcohol free is fulfilling. It makes life easier. It makes life better. It makes things and not to be not it's not always easy to start out with. First off, we just need to get alcohol free. But the thing is that if we can get over that hurdle at the beginning, figure out a way to not drink. That's really the goal. That's really the key. But anyway, I was able to send a link. I was able to. I had made a video about it. Looks like 10 months ago on alcohol addiction and loneliness, and the role that it plays in. I think it was just in sobriety, but also I went back and talked about what I was feeling before I quit drinking, the years leading up to it. I hadn't struggled with the loneliness aspect of it for a long time, probably since my early 30s. That doesn't mean I wasn't lonely. There weren't times when I was. There were times when I was lonely in my drinking. But I was able to figure out the difference between being alone and actually feeling lonely uh, when I quit drinking. That was really because we can find out a lot by just not drinking. The alcohol skews a lot of that stuff. And Jason, yep, alcohol free. I'm glad that you're alcohol free. Yeah, I'm glad that you're on this journey, and thanks again for your membership. Have you watched any of the videos yet? Because I do have. Well, I have one video on there and one short, but I'll be making more stuff. But I want to make sure that you get the value out of it. I know you just wanted to support the channel, and I'm grateful that you did that. And like I said, this is all kind of new to me. I actually did think about. I'm trying to come up with ideas to make for the members only videos. So if you have any topics you want me to talk about, please, Jason or anybody else that's here, let me know in the comments or in the community what else I can talk about. The loneliness one, I mean, it's for this live stream, but I mean, I can go into more detail about it on a video and upload it for everybody, or I can do a members only. Whatever is gonna work is really all that I care about. Whatever's gonna help, whatever's gonna bring bring you to find success and being alcohol free. That's really all I care about. So, but yeah, the loneliness issue was a huge thing in my 20s. I mean, uh, okay, cool. It alerts you. Awesome. Yeah, it's been busy. So, yep. So the loneliness thing in my 20s was a big thing. I really struggled with it. I mean, I you all know that I started drinking when I was subscribed to me to my channel. You know that I turned to alcohol when I was 15. It was fun and games till I got that DUI when I was 19. I mean, I got in some trouble before that DUI, but it was nothing that I wasn't able to kind of get out of, mainly because I was under 18. So I got in trouble at 16 and 17, and I was able to get like skate out of that with pretty much minimal damage. I did lose a job over one of them, uh, which I mean, it was just a whatever job. I mean, jobs are easy to get, when you're in high school. So I was able to just move on and get a different job after that. But the DUI really changed my life and my trajectory in life, because I mean, I was able to quit drinking and using alcohol and weed for 30 days. Ultimately, I went back to drinking after 30 days, but I didn't go back to weed. I didn't want to fail a drug test. But what happened was I learned, I did learn quite a bit during that time, even though I was still drinking. But I really, I didn't go back to weed, but I went into alcohol more, and I ended up isolating more, and I didn't really care, and I didn't care to make friends anymore. I didn't really care to, like, I still hung out with the people that I had always hung out with, but there wasn't many of them. I mean, there was a few, probably. I mean, there was probably 4 or 5 people that I hung out with still, at that time into my early 20s. So it wasn't like I was completely like lonely, but at the same time, I was going further and further into my addiction, and alcohol became all that I cared about. I mean, if they wanted to go off and do what they wanted to do, I didn't care. I was going to stay home and drink. That was really more entertaining to me. It was more, um, it was easier. It was just, I didn't have to deal with like the social stuff. I was always like socially awkward anyway. I'd never really felt comfortable being around people very much. I was comfortable with like one person, or if I was like close to the people, like 1 or 2 people. But if it was a group setting, I really didn't want anything to do with that. And so, um, that never really changed. Even when I got sober, and the years went on, I started to learn that that's really just how it is for me. Like, I don't really like that. I mean, it just depends. Like I said, like a setting like this, it'd be great. I mean, if we all met in person, I would feel completely comfortable, because I know you guys, I trust you guys, and it's not a situation where I feel like somebody's going to say something that's going to make me feel uncomfortable. But that's really what it was like. And I mean, a lot of that had to do with the fact that I grew up an only child. Um, I know a lot of that did. But also my drinking and going further into my addiction really, um, it really closed off. I started issues. It was because of the mental health things that I had going on. I was not in a good place. And when I ultimately ended up moving back home when I was 22 or 20, like 23, um, without that degree, and I felt like ashamed of that. And then, um, on top of that, I couldn't keep a good job. Like, I had people help me get a good job, but I wasn't able to keep it. And it was like I felt ashamed of that, and then it just spirals out of control. And before I knew it, I was having panic attacks at 24 years old, and with no real prospects of anything going on for my future. So I tried after that hospital stay from the panic attack. I really tried to first and foremost get a job and keep a job. That was like the first goal that I had after that. That was like my starting point for all for from that point forward. It's been an upward trajectory. Even though I drank all those years, I was able to find success and stepping stones after that panic attack. I still continued to have the panic attacks. I ultimately got a good job. I kept the job. I mean, I was there for 3 years, and but all through that, um, there were afternoons I remember just going home and not necessarily drinking, probably because I drank the night before, and I was just, I used to drink so much in my 20s that I didn't want to drink the next day. And but I remember a couple times just going home and just um, jumping on my couch, like diving headfirst in my couch. Um, oh yeah, I probably don't have a very good connection here. I did notice that, so maybe I'll move at some point. But I only had to rewind one time, so if it keeps doing it, I'll see if I can stop and move. Um, oh, blurry too. All right, let's see if I can. Let's see if I can do anything about it. Let me see if I move my car. See if that'll help. So, um, so yeah, I remember a couple times diving headfirst into my couch, like crying my eyes out. Like, am I always gonna feel like this? Hopeless. It's like it's such a shitty feeling. Um, but it was something that it actually kept me drinking, and I didn't really know it at the time that that's what was happening. Oh, now you can't even see me. All right, here, let's see if this helps. Is the signal any better? Okay, good. All right, so the loneliness was setting in, and I was 25 years old, 26, and it had been a few years where since I had, like, my girlfriend broke up with me when I was 23, and that was part of the issue that I was having. I didn't care anymore. I didn't really want to be hurt anymore. So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. I'll just drink, and that's my companion. And that that serves us well, I guess, for some time. At least it did for me. But then, like I said, a lot of times those feelings, it's in our subconscious mind that we're lonely. It might not feel like it. Does that make sense for any of you guys? It doesn't maybe feel like it in the moment, but then like a week or a month might go by, or a few months, and then you're right back into it and questioning, like, your lot in life, and just kind of wondering, like, what's gonna become of this? What's gonna become of me, my drinking? I don't. I mean, I want to grow, but I don't know how to. Um, so, but through all of it, and you guys know my stance on religion, but I mean, my faith was always present. It wasn't always prominent. Like the alcohol use was always winning that battle. And even though I prayed daily, uh, the alcohol always won out. So it wasn't like I was growing in my faith, but it was always kind of there that eventually, if I can find my way out, or when I find my way out, I won't feel like this anymore. And so I don't know where Robert stands on that. I don't know if Robert's here even. I wished he would be here. Doesn't look like he's commented. If Robert, if you're here, let us know. Because this video is for you. um, so the faith for me, it was faith that I always believed that something good was going to come out of all of it, and I always kind of believed that. And I remember when I finally felt comfortable like dating again and trying that again. And again, that really took something happening that was not in my control for me to open my eyes. It was my grandfather passed away, and I was 27, and he's someone I looked up to, somebody who I wished I could have like a relationship like he had with my grandmother. They didn't drink. I mean, I think from what I understand, after my grandma died in 2019, he had a past with drinking, but I didn't see that, and I think it was before I was old enough to know. So they always had an alcohol-free home. And for me, that was awesome. Whenever we went there, they didn't live close by. They were like 3.5 hours away driving. But I was there for like maybe three times a year for like 2 or 3 nights. And but every time I was there, I was like, man, this is what I want. I want a good relationship. I don't want alcohol around. I don't want all that chaos around me. Like I don't like it. And even though I'm in the middle of chaos, it's just me, and I'm not bringing other people down. You know, that's one of the things that I feel like. Um, Jason says, "Lucky for me, God blessed me with a great woman, high school sweethearts. We have 25 years together, so never had to really worry about the dating thing." Well, congrats on that. 25 years is awesome, and yeah, that can keep us on an even keel. I feel the same way. Um, there was a time when I didn't feel that way, but that was kind of when I realized that my drinking had really gotten the best of me, because it was it had potential to tear everything apart for me, my marriage, to begin with. And then, you know, from that point on, I think it would just be a downward spiral. So I kept trying to go to therapy to fix that. I kept going to therapy to yeah, I mean, if you started in high school, my brother-in-law, so my wife's brother, him and his wife met in high school too, and they got married like their second year in college. So yeah, they were married at like 20. So yeah, they're like 50 years old, but they've been married for 30 years already. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's kind of what I wished for. I dated. I mean, I started like dating, I guess you know, going out with or whatever, in like seventh grade. And I went out with this girl on and off seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, and then she broke my heart every time. And then I dated a bunch of girls from like ninth and 10th grade, and then I met a girl and I dated her for a year, and yeah, again, broke my heart. and then another one for like 4 or 5 years after that, and again broke my heart. So it was like I kept getting my heart broken. But I think, like looking back on that, I think I was looking for love, but I was looking for it to fulfill me. And I kind of learned that all that time I took off from dating, those like 3 years where I was just like by myself, and I kind of was like, I can't do that. I can't just, I have to be able to rely on myself to be able to be okay and fulfilled. Um, and like I said, I wasn't real into my faith yet, but it was there. But like I knew that I had to kind of look within, to find that fulfillment. I knew that a person, another human being who is also flawed, was not going to be able to give me what I needed. Um, I mean, to a certain degree. I mean, if we're married, if we find the right person, that comes in play eventually. But so when I got back into dating, I actually went out with 2 or 3 or so girls, and I was actually the one to do the breaking up the first couple times. And that was different for me, because I got to a point. The first one was 9 months that I dated, and then the second one was 6 months. And I knew they weren't exactly the right one for me, but I still tried anyway. I tried to make it work. But eventually it was like, this isn't going to work, and I broke up with them, and that was a different feeling. Like I felt, you know, I didn't feel good that I broke up with them, but I felt almost like, look, I can do better. That was like the first real, like, um that was really the first time I felt empowered in my life at 28 years old. And that built, and I started building on that. And I didn't feel as lonely as I did before, because I looked within, like I knew that to be fulfilled, I was going to have to fix myself, and I was going to have to open up, uh, and just be honest with myself. Jason says, my wife doesn't drink. I have definitely put her through some bad days. The alcohol definitely separated us a few times. But luckily for me, she could see something in me that I couldn't. I think we have similar backgrounds with this. Yeah, and my wife has even said that. She said that. I don't remember the exact words. I'm thinking it was potential. Like I've always, no, I believed in you. I think she said, I believe, I believe in you. That you're a good man, and that you. I can't remember if she said potential, but she might have. But in any case, I mean, we met online actually, and it was interesting because uh, I put that I got on that website after I dated three or four different. I went on some dates with a few people before I met her, but I ended up. I didn't want to date anybody with kids, and I wanted her to be younger than me. Those were a couple things that I was looking at. And after going out on, I think it was 3 or 4. It might have been more than that. Maybe a couple of them were just like one date and done. But I was like, these aren't the right girls. So maybe I'll switch this up. And I got an alert one day. Would you like to change your preferences? And I was like, might as well. Let's try. And the first thing when I clicked on yes, let's change that, was, would you be open to dating somebody with children? And I was like, well, I get, yeah, let's try that. So I clicked yeah. What was the age group? I changed the age to I mean younger than me, but also like 5 or so years older than me. And it was like a day or two later, the woman who would ultimately be my wife sent me a message, and I actually changed my description, I think, around that time too, and made it more from the heart, not so, like fake, I guess. I mean, it wasn't dishonest, but it wasn't like genuine and from my heart the way that it was when I changed it. So I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna just be honest, uh, say what I'm looking for, and then change these couple things. And ultimately, she sent me a message, and it wasn't, she didn't have one child, she had three, three girls, ages 6, 8, and 10, and she was like 4 years older than me. She's 4 years older than me. So I was like, okay, let's give that a try, and ultimately we went out and we hit it off, and the rest was history. And it was, I mean, it just happened to be, that was really my first experience with like online and algorithms and matches like that. I mean, it was interesting how that all kind of worked out. Um, but yeah, I mean, just a great woman, and I felt lucky. At the same time, when we had a daughter of our own, things kind of changed after that. I mean, after we got married, things were, I don't know, they just became more real, like right away. Not that it wasn't before, but it just became more, I felt like it just became more responsibility and more real. And not like I was stepping in to be their dad, but because he's always been in the picture. Um, in fact, two of them live with him now. But it was like, it just became this, I put all this pressure on myself, we do that. Like, I just felt like, I needed to be a good, like role model. I needed to be, there for my wife, for my daughters. And so it became real, like right after we got married. And then a year later we had a daughter of our own, and then it became more real but different, because she had already gone through that, having a baby 3 times, and I had never even so much as changed a diaper in my 34 years of existence. So I found myself getting really short tempered, but also, and it was just because, like, she knew what she was doing and I didn't, and I felt like I was failing at everything I was doing, and I didn't feel like I was given an opportunity to really learn. I mean, for the most part, before that, and even to this day, I learn by mistakes. Like, I didn't have like a mom and dad that were like the role models that I needed. They didn't teach me how to take care of things. They didn't like, I wasn't taught how to do a lot of things, right? So I ultimately just learned at a very young age that, and my mom was always present. So it's not like I didn't have a mother there, but I didn't have the male role models that I wished I did. And that's a whole other story. But um so a lot of it, I didn't go to my mom for a lot of stuff, and even though I probably could have, a lot of the things that I did, I wanted to learn on my own. I wanted to make my own mistakes. I wanted to figure it out, trial and error. But I didn't feel like, and a lot of that's just, we're tired when we have a baby. we're overtired. So so that, that plays into that. But uh, so I'm getting off topic a little bit, but all that to say, after some years have passed, and those are girls that were 6, 8, and 10 at the time. Ultimately, in 2016, 2017, when I was really starting to question my drinking, they were in their teenage years, and man, that was difficult. And I knew that it would be, but I didn't know that it was going to be as hard as it ultimately ended up being. And I isolated more and more, because I just didn't know how to deal with any of it. And then we had one of our daughters that was going through some mental issues, and some really serious ones actually. And that really led me into more like back to this lonely feeling that I had back in the day in my 20s. And now I'm in my late 30s, and I'm having these feelings. So yeah, all that to say, the loneliness thing, if we can, the drinking makes the loneliness, just like everything else. It magnifies it. Alcohol magnifies our feelings, then the hangover magnifies how we're feeling. So we're anxious, we have anxiety, and we feel like there isn't much hope. And the thing is that there is hope if we can put alcohol down for a little bit of time. We can find that there's within us, there is this peace. There is, and I don't know, for me, like I said, that was my faith, but that's not for everybody, and I get that, but that's just what it was like for me. And I started to lean on my faith more. And but it started way before that, where I knew that I had to kind of look within and find the fulfillment. And it wasn't people and I always thought maybe it was, if I could find the right friends, if I could find the right job and coworkers to be friends with, or if I could find a group, if I could find, my tribe, I'm gonna feel less lonely. That never really was the thing that did it for me. What really did it was, realizing that the fulfillment is going to come from within. And then after that, whatever we find through either therapy or through introspection, even if we're still drinking, but after we quit drinking and we start to find communities, sober communities, we start to find things that we like to do, we start to find ourselves. That was really the reason. And when we're stuck in drinking and we think that it's helping that loneliness, it's really making it worse. It's not making it better. It feels like it's helping. It feels like it's, it almost feels like alcohol can be our friend. Then we get to a point where it's like, this isn't working anymore. I got to find a different way, because it's wreaking havoc on my relationships. It's wreaking havoc on my health. The hangover brings guilt, anxiety, sickness, and remorse. 100%. And it's hard to see that until we, get a little bit of time away from alcohol. How long was it for you, Jason, before you started to recognize that the alcohol was really just making it all worse? I felt like I was about 30 days for sure, but I was still looking at milestones as because I was always a numbers person, so I felt like I was healing, but all I knew was that I felt better. And I wanted to go from 30 days to 60 days. And when I got to 60, I wanted to go to 90. So I made numbers really meant a lot. And in fact, I counted my days until like over 1,000 days. I was at like 11 or 1,200 days when I had a few people on my sober community keep saying, are you going to keep counting days? How long are you going to keep counting days? And I was like, you know what, maybe I don't need to count days anymore. So I quit counting days around that time. But it was around like 3 or 4 months where I was like, you know what? I feel better. I don't feel as lonely. 3 weeks. Yeah, that's a good amount of time. That's what they say is to change a habit, uh, give it like 3 weeks. So yeah, that's a good number. Um, yeah. So I hope Robert sees this message. I hope that you guys took something away from this. There's no one way to figure all this out. I found I think it's different for everybody, especially the faith aspect. Um, but that's what I got for you guys today. So I'm glad that you guys joined me on this. Stay tuned for a new video coming out on Wednesday, and I'll probably try to make another member video here in the next day or so too, and upload that. So yeah, have a great sober day, everybody, and I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.